Hello. Give me 1 second to go live on all the places. Happy Monday. Welcome to this week's Monday morning style session. Excited to go live with you guys and talk about trends versus classics. Woohoo! Who's excited? I'm excited to talk about this topic because I've had so many questions about this lately, and then also comments that lead me to believe that this is a topic that can be confusing, and I totally get that. Before I get started, I can take off my glasses now. Before I get started, couple of quick reminders. I send out, if you're on my email list, which you should be on my email list, if not, go to netamanley.com. You can sign up there. I sent out my weekly schedule this week. So I talked about today's video, trends versus classic. Hello, everybody. And then tomorrow I have a video coming out on how to cover your arms in the summer and still look chic and not look like you're just trying to cover your arms. Wednesday, I have a video coming out, if all goes according to plan, how to wear jewelry in a modern way. Thursday, how to pick a dress for your body type. And then Friday, I'm talking about why we should be glamorous at the beach and glamorous bathing suits. So welcome. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you guys. We have people from all over the world joining us here from Italy, from Holland, from all over the US. So nice to see you guys. Okay, so I talked about the weekly schedule. Don't forget to sign up for Closet Confidence. It starts 2 weeks from today. And now let's get into it. Now, I want to just give you a little bit of background because I want you to know why you should listen to me when it comes to trends, because trend reporting and trend analyzing is something I have done my entire career. I was a fashion editor and a fashion columnist most of my career before I transitioned over to becoming a personal stylist. So I have been reporting about trends my entire career. I went to Fashion Week, for years, and my job was to watch the runway shows, figure out what was going to be hot, and then get that out in the form of magazine articles to our audience. So I do the same thing now. I just don't physically go to Fashion Week as often as I'd like to, but I watch hundreds of hours of runway shows before reporting to you on what's trendy and what's not trendy, right? So that's my job. That's my whole job. I spend a lot of time on it and I take it really seriously. So hello, everybody. Nice to see you guys. So I take it very seriously that trends are something that they're objective. Now, everyone's going to have their own spin on it, and some people are going to call out some trends over other trends. But if you want to know whether trends are really trendy, all you have to do is there's objective evidence for trends. It's the runway show. That's where trends come from. And then they get filtered through everyone's individual lenses, including mine. And I pick the ones that I think are the most relevant for my audience, but they're still actually trends. Hi, Serena. Nice to see you. Okay, so that's my take on trends. So I don't think it's a helpful conversation to say that's not trendy, that's not in style, because you can just look on the runway and you'll see whether it is or it's not, right? Okay, so what we have to do then is, when we're looking at trends, is to categorize whether something is categories never go out of style, basically. And so that's this is where this is coming from. When someone commented recently, oh, heels are not in style. That's just not true. Not only are there a lot of trendy heels right now, but whole categories don't go out of style. So it's silly to say flats go out of style, or skirts go out of style, or dresses go in and out of style, or even sneakers, leggings, heels. Whole categories don't go out of style. The details on those categories are going to look different. So for example, this year's heel looks different than a heel from 5 years ago, but heels in general are always going to be in style. This year's flats look different than flats from 5 years ago. Same with sneakers, same with any other category. So categories don't go out of style. It's the details in those categories that make something either trendy or not, classic or not. So just as a clarification, So it is kind of funny, and I've gone on videos and saying, "Oh, flats are back in style." All that means is that that category is currently in the spotlight. And when something is in the spotlight, what it does is it gives us a lot of options when it comes to shopping. So if you're a flats person, flats are in the spotlight right now, as well as heels. There are plenty of heels in the spotlight, but flats are having a moment as well. So this gives you more options when it comes to buying flats. So things can move in and out of the spotlight, but they're never, whole categories are never out of style. Okay, so I wanted to clear up like things being in the spotlight and out of the spotlight. Another example of this is how old money pieces right now are in the spotlight, right? Everyone is like, oh, a silk blouse and linen and neutrals. And those are having a moment. They're in the spotlight. When they move out of the spotlight, they are not going to be out of style. They'll never be out of style. Those are classic pieces, and they're just now in the spotlight. So recognizing the difference between things being currently buzzy and things being out of style, I think is helpful, because ultimately we're all going to make our own decisions. And I'm going to get to that in a second about what we bring into our wardrobes and what we don't. And I want you to have an educated and like a perspective on how to make those decisions so you bring the best items into your wardrobe. That's always my goal. My goal is not to make you a trend expert. That's my passion and my love. But my goal is for you to figure out what's going to work in your wardrobe and to make the right choices and bring the right pieces into your style. Okay, so enough philosophical trend talk. Now I want to talk about how to discern the difference between trends versus classics, right? Because that's why we're here. How do we tell the difference between trends versus classics? Now, you know my mantra, I talk about it all the time, details date. The more detailed an item is, the more details it has on it, the more likely it is to go out of style. So in the example I showed this morning, if you guys saw it on my social media, there's a white short sleeved shirt. There are two different versions of it. One has a simple sleeve. It's a dolman sleeve, actually, but a simple dolman sleeve. And the other one has a puff sleeve. Now, which one is going to be the trend piece and which one is going to be the modern classic piece? The one with the puff sleeves is going to be the trend piece because it has an additional detail that makes it a trend piece. Now, that's just information you need to make your shopping decisions, right? Like if you love puff sleeves, like I gravitate towards puff sleeves. If you like some of those trend details, then you'll say, okay, well, I'm recognizing this is a trend, but I want to buy it anyway because I love it and it speaks to my personal style. Or if it doesn't really speak to you, then you're going to go for probably the more modern classic version, and there is no right or wrong answer. It's really filtering it through the lens of your personal style. Okay, so we really want to look at trends and recognize when they are trends and recognize when they are modern classics. Now, let's talk about the filters that we use to determine whether or not to buy something. Everyone needs 4 filters, essentially. When you're in a store and you're looking at an item and you're drawn to it, you want to ask yourself, first of all, does this flatter me? Now, once you know the rules of color and body type, you can bend them, you can even break them, but you need to know the rules first. And I was using this example in my style program a couple of days ago. Picasso knew how to draw and paint like any classic painter by the time he was 12. Like he had that down, right? And then he decided to make it his own, right? You have to understand what flatters you and what suits you first, and then you can decide which of those guidelines and principles you want to break and which you want to stick with, right? Okay, so first, flattery. Like, does this work for me? Does this flatter me? Does this bring out the best in me? That's the first thing that you're going to ask yourself. The second thing you're going to ask yourself is, does this suit my budget? Like, can I afford it? Does this make sense for me to be buying this? Or should I spend my money? Everyone has a number. Sometimes it's a big number, sometimes it's a small number. And I talk to all of you because I feel like we all deserve, no matter what our budget, we all deserve to have wardrobes that we love and that represent us. So you want to ask yourself, does this align with my budget and my goals? You know, I rarely use the B word on this channel, but you want to ask yourself, is this something that's worth spending money on, right? Third, lifestyle. You want to ask yourself, of course, is this something I'm going to be reaching for? Or am I buying a lot of dressy dresses and I'm not going to any dressy places? Or am I buying a lot of casual clothes for weekend and really I need clothes for work? Like, ask yourself, does this align with my lifestyle? I've done lots of lifestyle videos, and I would encourage you to really like map out a couple of weeks in your life and assign a dress code to every one of the days and every one of the activities in your life, so that you can look and see whether the purchases you're making align with the way that you're actually spending your time, right? If you're spending your time doing outdoorsy physical activities 5 days a week and you've got a lot of silk blouses in your wardrobe, then there's a disconnect, right? So you've got to look at your lifestyle. And then finally, you've got to look at your personal style. Does this speak to me? Does this speak to me? Like, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Does it feel like me? Am I excited to wear it? Is it something I'm going to be reaching for because it just feels like me? Ideally, you want to check all of those boxes when you're making a new purchase. And when you find a new purchase that checks all those boxes, aligns with your budget, it's flattering, suits your personal style and your lifestyle, that is a sign that you may have picked something that's going to be a new go-to. And ideally, we want everything, if you're following me, I want everything that's coming into your wardrobe to be something that you're reaching for over and over again. I want all of those things to become go-tos for you. Okay, so those are the filters that you're going to use. So we're looking at trends and you're like, I'm drawn to this trendy item. I'm going to ask myself, is it flattering? I'm going to ask myself, does it line up with my budget? Does it suit my personal style? And does it suit my lifestyle? Right? Those are the four questions you're asking yourself. What I want you to do also is to do this as an exercise for yourself. And again, I'm not trying to make anybody a trend expert, except, that's my love and my passion, but I don't expect it to be yours. But what is helpful is to know what is in style and what is not in style. And what's your style and what's not your style, right? So you can ask yourself this question every time you see something, every time I post something, every time anyone else posts something, every time you see something in a store or on your favorite website, ask yourself to distinguish the difference between something that's not in style or not my style. There is a difference. So often we see something that we don't like and our knee-jerk reaction is that, oh, that's not in style. Well, what you really meant to say was that's not my style. It might be trendy for other people, but it's not my style. For example, kind of over the top, very frilly, very feminine cottagecore dresses have been trending for a few years now. Now, those are polarizing. Just watch my Friday video if you want to see some polarizing dresses. I feature dresses for every personal style, from minimalists to like frilly styles. So what I would encourage you to do is to ask yourself, is that something that is just not my style, but I can recognize that it's a trend? And why is that important? Because it's important to be able to spot trends when we see them, because then we can decide which of the trend pieces we're going to bring into our wardrobe and which of the modern classic pieces we're going to bring into our wardrobe. Now, why do I call classics modern classics? I call them that because classics are not classic. I hate to break it to you and to me, but classics are not classic, right? Classics change every 10 years or so. Probably shorter now. The life cycle of trends has gotten shorter and shorter. But the simplest pieces are the ones that are going to last closer to the 10-year mark. The pieces that have a little bit more going on, we're looking at the 5-year mark. Modern classics are the simplest, what makes a classic? It's neutral. It's simple, it's versatile. We're talking about the basic pieces, right? A white shirt, a black pair of pants, jeans. All of those pieces are like what I call modern classics. And what makes them modern is it's not the same white shirt that you wore 10 years ago. It's not the same black pants that you wore 10 years ago. So even classics need an update. They just need to be updated less frequently. So you want to be able to tell the difference between classics, modern classics, and trend pieces, because you want your wardrobe, ideally, the breakdown to be 70 to 80% modern classics and then 20 to 30% trend pieces. Okay. So again, really knowing the difference, not my style versus not in style, can be very, very helpful. Finally, I want to talk about how to know which stores are going to suit your aesthetic. I'm going to be talking about this a little bit more. There are stores that lean more heavily towards trend pieces and stores that lean a little bit more heavily towards classic pieces. And so we're looking at a store like Talbot's, for example. Talbot's leans more towards classic pieces. A brand like Banana Republic leans more towards classic pieces. A brand like Favorite Daughter leans more towards trend pieces. A brand like Veronica Beard leans more towards trend pieces. So you want to think about which of the stores and which brands you're buying items from, because again, we're looking for that breakdown of 70 to 80% modern classics and 20 to 30% trends. So that's a rough breakdown. Some people have it reversed. And when that happens, you're going to find that you're recycling and cycling through your wardrobe much more quickly. I used to be that way. I used to be a fashion victim, and I bought everything that was new and trendy and shiny and fun and interesting. And what ended up happening was that I did not have any there was no continuity in my wardrobe, and I felt like I never had anything to wear to all the things. I was always shopping, but I never felt like I was ready or prepared or dressed for anything. I never felt like I had all the cute outfits that I wanted, in spite of the fact that I was spending a lot of money and I had a lot of clothes. So having that breakdown right, having that percentage right for you and for your lifestyle can make a huge difference in the wearability of your wardrobe and actually loving the clothes that are in your closet and actually wearing the clothes that are in your closet. So as a former shiny object syndrome, hot shopper, fashion victim, I can tell you, when you focus on bringing in some of the modern classics and mixing and matching them with the fun trend shiny object statement pieces in your wardrobe, you're going to have a versatile wardrobe that's going to really work well for you. So this is a process I'm going to talk you through in Closet Confidence. I highly recommend that you sign up for Closet Confidence. The link is in the comments. It starts May 13th. That's 2 weeks from today. You will not want to miss it. It's the day after Mother's Day. I mean, you deserve to give yourself a few days of getting to focus on your wardrobe in a really, really uplifting and encouraging community. So I would love for you guys to do that. I'm going to check the comments real fast and see if anybody has any questions. Unfortunately, Facebook is not really letting me see all of my comments. But if I did not, I guess I will just have to answer them afterwards. I see a couple of them. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you have any questions about trends versus classics, not my style versus not in style, I'm going to recap really quickly, and then definitely ask me your questions at the end of, in the comments, and I will respond to them. Okay, so just a quick recap. You want to know the difference between things being in the spotlight and out of the spotlight. Whole categories will never go out of style. So don't let anyone tell you can't wear flats anymore. You can't wear sneakers anymore. You can't wear boots anymore. Whole categories never go out of style. They just look a little different every 5 years or so. Okay. Point number one. Point number two, use that filter. Your filter needs to be flattery, lifestyle, budget, and personal style. Those are your filters to decide whether or not something deserves some of that precious real estate in your wardrobe. Third, you want to know the difference and the breakdown in your own wardrobe of trends versus modern classics. And finally, you want to know when you're shopping, whether you're shopping at a trend-focused store or a classic-focused store. So I hope that you found that helpful. Let me know in the comments what your aha moments were and your takeaways were. And just, I hope that this encouraged you to know that trends really are like just a fun way to add a little spice to our wardrobes, and we can always choose which ones to bring into our wardrobes and which ones to not bring and to skip. So trends are not mandatory. They're not mandatory. You are always welcome and encouraged to sit out a season if you don't find something that speaks to you. If it doesn't make it through those 4 filters, then leave it behind, leave it in the store, save your money, and save it for something that you do want and that you're going to be reaching for over and over again. So thank you guys. Thank you for the sweet comments. Love you. And people from all over. That's awesome. Love you guys. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be talking on YouTube about how to cover your arms in the summer without it looking like you're just covering your arms. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.